This is Franklin Nolan. Today's date is September 10th, 2015. We are covering amending Title 18 United States Code to make a crime the willful destruction of any interstate pipeline system. 95th Congress, First Session, Senate Calendar Number 314, Report Number 95-339, Docket Number 95/1, SRPT 339. July 13th, legislation date May 18th, 1977, order to be printed. Mr. Eastland from the Committee of the Judiciary Committee, committed the following report to accompany S-1502, the Committee on Judiciary, to which was referred the bill S-1502 to amend Title 18 United States Code to make it a crime, willful destruction of any interstate pipeline, having considered the same report favorable thereon without amendment, and recommends that the bill do pass. Purpose of bill: the proposed bill as reported will provide federal criminal jurisdiction over willful acts with damage or attempt to damage any pipeline system used in transportation of gas, oil, or interstate commerce. Legislation need by resolution adopted in March 9th, 1976, in accordance with the oversight responsibilities in the field of internal security. The then Subcommittee on Internal Security Committee committed itself to investigation and study of the problems affecting the securities of the Trans-Alaskan Pipeline. In this study, the subcommittee sought solution to problems which emerged through the testimony of witness appears before the subcommittee. The subcommittee sought not to lose sight of fact that one of the thorny issues to be resolved stemmed from the fact that they were dealing simultaneously with the private property, a national need and commitment compelling federal interstate to ensure the protection of the private property in question. A subtle body of testimony and evidence which has been published was presented to the subcommittee by the following witness: Senator Ted Stevens of Alaska, Quinn O'Connell, Connell, and O'Connell, Washington counsel for Alasek, Earl Earbeck, Chief Transportation Section, Office of Oil and Gas, Federal Energy Administration, John E. Latz, Technical Assistant to Undersecretary of Interior and Chairman, Technical Advisory Board, Federal Task Force of the Alaskan Oil Development, Leonard A. Leshak, President of Development and Resource Transportation Company, Brooks McClure, International Security Affairs, Department of Defense, Lieutenant Colonel James F. Kelly, Lieutenant Colonel Joseph E. Zinger, and Lieutenant Colonel Jerry V. Witt, representing the Joint Chiefs of Staff. James Goodwin, Manager of the Administration for Operations Division of the Trans-Alaska Pipeline, Alasac Pipeline Service and Company, James O. Ingram, Deputy Assistant Director, General Investigative Division, FBI, Richard L. Burton, Commissioner, Department of Public Safety, State of Alaska, Dr. Maynard M. Steffens, Principal Energy Scientist, Gulf South Research Institute, Baton Rouge, and New Orleans, Louisiana. The committee's hearings disclosed that the general welfare and common defense of the American people require that oil and gas resources need to be protected for the purpose of ensuring reliability of its use for present and future generations, and that the Trans-Alaska Pipeline of the paramount interest to national well-being, and that any threat to this pipeline would result in a major threat to national security of the United States. Witnesses before subcommittee representing law enforcement as well as the security officials of the Alasek Pipeline Company agreed to their testimony that there was a need for federal legislation which would make a federal crime to damage or interfere with the operations of Trans-Alaskan Pipeline. These witnesses believed that if they could not place if they post placards along the pipeline advertising the fact that any attack on the any attack on the line or its operation is a federal offense, that would serve to discourage unmotivated vandalism such as shootings at the pipeline, and it might also serve to discourage disgruntled employees from venting their anger and damaging the pipelines. Existing jurisdiction. The jurisdiction related to the TAP is unclear. In part, the confusion about jurisdiction stems from the fact that the pipeline traverses a patchwork lands are differently owned and differently administered, i.e. land owned by federal government, land owned by the state of Alaska, privately owned land, and land administered by the Department of Defense. Correspondence between Senator Thurmond and Mr. Clarence Kelly, director of the SBI, disclosed that the Department of Justice has determined that federal jurisdiction is exclusive in any part of the pipeline corridor passing over a defense withdrawal area and concurrent with the state and any part of the pipeline corridor passing over the land owned by the United States and held for use by the military at the time Alaska became a state. Further inquiry concerned jurisdiction provided by the Solicitor's Office of the U.S. Department of Interior disclosed that through the FBI does the jurisdiction over defense withdrawal area in Alaska. This jurisdiction thus far remains a purely theoretical one because the President has never established such areas. Moreover, the territories subject to the concurrent jurisdiction between the state of Alaska and the United States include only 50 miles of pipeline. In this testimony before the subcommittee, Senator Stevens also expressed doubt that the Alaska State Police will be able to cope with the problem of safeguarding the pipeline against terrorists or other criminal elements. I want to assure you, he said, we have an extremely dedicated police organization and our Commissioner of Public Safety, Richard Burton, has asked me to inform the committee that he would like to cooperate with the committee, but there again, we believe that because the area that our state police must cover, an area of 1/5 the size of the United States, we have some 450,000 people. We are annually visited by at least 5 times that many. They are extremely busy. In other words, at particular times of the year, they just cannot maintain a force of total surveillance of any kind. Statement. On May 12th of 77, Senator Stevens introduced the Install Bill S-1502 as a complementary measure to S-1496, the bill regarding the Trans-Alaskan Pipeline System, S-1502 expanding the coverage of S-1496 to include any interstate pipeline system. In introducing S-1502, Senator Stevens pointed out that the Congress later this year will consider the recommendations of the President concerning the route chosen to transport natural gas from the north slopes of Alaska to the southern 48. This bill, S-1502, would cover that pipeline for the distance which is located within the United States, pipeline for the distance which is located within the United States, the Trans-Alaskan Pipeline System, and all other intersecting pipelines systems located within the United States. Since there has been some question raised by the TAPS line in the interstate pipeline, although it is solely within the United States of the state of Alaska, there may be implications that only Alaskans may tamper with the pipeline. Thus, Thus, S-1502 is intended to clarify the situation involved the TAPS and expand the slope of its legislation to cover all interstate pipeline systems. S-1502 complements S-1496 and should be considered as appropriate for consideration by the Senate as a combined legislative package to cover all willful acts of destruction or attempts to interfere with any interstate or intrastate pipeline system. Cost of legislation. The Department of Justice advised that the passage of S-1502 would not require any new programs, that the cost of the investigating and prosecuting violations of a criminal provision should be borne by their normal budget. Changes in existing law in compliance with subsection 4 of Rule XXIX of the Standing Rules of the Senate. Change in existing law made by this bill, as reported, are shown as follows. Existing law proposed to be omitted in this enclosed in the black brackets. New matter is printed in italics, and existing law, which is no change, is proposed in the shown in Roman. United States Code Title 15, Crimes and Criminal Procedures. Chapter 68, Interstate Pipeline Systems. Section 1401, Definition. Section 1402, Destruction of Interstate Pipeline System. 1401, Definition. As used in this chapter, the term interstate pipeline system means any pipeline system used in transportation of gas or oil in interstate commerce. 1402, Destruction of Interstate Pipeline System. Whoever willfully injures or destroys or attempts to injure or destroy any interstate pipeline system shall be fined no more than $5,000 or imprisoned not more than 15 years or both. Bravo. The table of chapters of Part 1 of Title 18 U.S.C. Code is amended by inserting immediate after an item related to Chapter 67 of the following. S.R. 339, amending Title 18 U.S. Code to make a crime the willful destruction of any interstate pipeline system. 95th Congress, First Session, Senate Calendar Number 314, Report Number 95-339, Docket 95/1, SRPT 339. Today's date, September 10th, 2015.